Welcome to Flip the Cap, the industry's premier podcast where insurance insights flow and trending topics are always on tap. I'm your host, Kathryn Smith, and I'm joined today by Loren Henry, Jencap's newest hire and the head of our new energy practice, which we'll get into a little bit later. Loren brings a wealth of experience and knowledge to Jencap in the specific realm of environmental, energy, marine, and oilfield hazmat risks. He has been a dedicated oil and gas and environmental broker for 12 plus years at the likes of Sloan Mason, Turned, Worldwide, Turned, Amwins. Same seat, different signs. He is a highly sought after speaker, content contributor, and panelist in the insurance industry, and we are absolutely thrilled not just to have him on today at Flip the Cap, but to have him join us at Jencap. So I can't wait to get to know you a little bit better today and also just dig into some of the trending topics that are happening in the energy space, which is a little bit new to me. So I'm excited to learn some new things also. So without further ado, we're going to pop the top and get into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you for having me.
What better initiation than me forcing you to come onto a podcast that you're...
Yeah, just diving right into it.
Hey, and you get bonus points for wearing Jencap brand colors. I appreciate that.
I wanted to stick with the theme a bit.
You did well. Hey, there's nothing better to get brownie points with the marketer than to wear our brand colors. So well done. So Loren, at the beginning of the podcast, we like to just get to know our guest a little bit better. Not necessarily insurance related, but just you and who you are, okay. Especially because I don't know you very well. So I'm excited about this part. And we're going to kick it off with a simple this or that lightning round.
All right.
Don't overthink it. You're just going to go with the flow, and let's see what happens.
Okay.
You ready?
Living room.
All right. DIY or call a pro?
Call a pro.
Scary movie or comedy?
Comedy.
Foresee the future or change the past?
Foresee the future.
Underestimated or overestimated?
Underestimated.
Logic or emotion?
Logic.
Be powerful or be popular?
Powerful.
Loose guidelines or clear directions?
Loose guidelines.
I'm an underwriter after all. Physical books or ebooks?
Physical.
Okay. Shop online or in the store?
In the store.
Snow ski or water ski?
Snow ski.
Have more time or more money?
Time.
Always summer or always winter?
Always summer.
Okay. Southern Cal guy. That makes sense. Get up early or stay up late?
Stay up late.
Read the book or wait for the movie?
Wait for the movie.
Got it. Same. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Outgoing or shy?
Outgoing.
Month-long staycation or week-long adventure?
Week-long adventure.
Mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup.
Ketchup. Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Christmas.
Tell a lie or be told a lie?
Tell a lie.
Swim in the ocean or in the pool?
Ocean.
You did it. You survived.
All right.
Your first lightning round. But I do have a couple more questions for you. What are a couple of interesting things that we may not uncover working with you that just may not come up in conversation at work?
Yeah, being in the insurance world, a lot of these don't overlap with the everyday conversations I have. So I was a Division I soccer player.
Okay.
And coached for about 20 years after that. And then was also a DJ in college and after, radio DJ, and produced the big Snoop Dogg radio show, which was obviously hosted by Snoop Dogg himself.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I love that. Well, you have a radio voice, so it makes sense.
I was told
the first time I talked to you, I was like, wow, stoic. Was like articulate. So I guess that makes sense.
It was a good choice.
What'd you think of D-O-double-G?
He was really cool. He's hard to get to know at first. He's very reserved. I think that's just being who he was and the world that he was in at that time. But, you know, I would go to his house, hang out with his family, met his wife, his kids, his mom.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm dating myself a bit now, but if you remember the old MTV show, MTV Cribs, Snoop Dogg had an episode and he had a Lakers basketball court in his backyard. And I actually got to play hoops on that backyard.
That's really cool. I actually love that show. Bring it back. What's a time that you bet on yourself and it paid off?
Yeah, I think a good example was early in my insurance career. I was working for State Farm, and one of our clients at the time ended up being my future boss, and he at Sloan Mason, and he, kind of laid out the parameters to be successful in his mind at the job, and there was some risks, and a lot of people didn't meet that bar and didn't last very long. And so I just kind of thought I could do it and do it well. And here I am 12 plus years later, still crushing it in insurance.
I love that. That's really cool. Speaking of insurance, I hear Snoop Dogg, pals, radio, soccer, doesn't seem to have a very clear path into insurance. So how did that happen?
Yeah, I didn't go the traditional study in undergrad insurance or anything like that. So, I just got to a point in my life. I'd worked in radio, kind of got burned out in that lifestyle, and then went on to run a youth soccer club in Southern California, and did that for a while. And then, Southern California is very expensive. And so I needed a job that was actually going to pay me so I could raise a family down there. So I called up a buddy's dad who was a State Farm agent, and that's how I got the ball rolling.
That's interesting. That's actually my segue into the insurance industry too, is the captive insurance side. Yeah. And then it's like, wait, there's this whole other world out there. Mm-hmm. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have Loren flip the cap. The score to beat is 2, so really you got one shot to be at the top of the leaderboard. So what better way to make a name for himself on week 2 of the job than to just dominate the leaderboard of everyone that's come before him. So we'll be right back.
Flip the Cap is brought to you by Jencap. Jencap is one of the largest wholesale intermediaries in the United States, with expertise in wholesale brokerage, binding authority, and program management. Jencap has specialized divisions and affiliate companies that provide niche expertise, unparalleled market access, and nationwide influence. Encompassing expertise from every corner of the industry, Jencap is the ultimate award-winning insurance family. Put Jencap to work for you.
We're back, and you're tuned in to Flip the Cap. I'm your host, Kathryn Smith, and I'm joined by special guest Loren Henry today, who's the head of Jencap's energy practice. Loren, I know you're new to the game here. Well, actually, that's not true. You're a D1 soccer player, new to this game.
Yes.
So I have all of our guests play, and really the only rules here are don't go past the table, but you're not bouncing, you're just going straight into the cup.
Okay.
And as you can see on our esteemed leaderboard here, the score to beat is 2. So, if you want to be number 1, you have to toss it in 1.
Sink it in the first one. All right.
I have faith in you.
All right, here we go.
I promise it's not a trick cup. You just got robbed on that one. Mike DeFeo would love to not be at the bottom, and Mark.
I'm right there.
But we'll see. No, you got it.
Gosh.
You!
There it is.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Talk to me about the marriage of energy and environmental. Obviously, Jencap has a dedicated environmental division, and our new energy practice that you're leading sits up underneath that. But I'm sure there's some gray, but talk about where the lines are in the insurance world of what would be qualified as an energy risk and something needing a dedicated energy broker versus something that's environmental.
Yeah, to your point, there's definitely a lot of gray area, a lot of overlap between the two insurance segments. I think the hard and fast rule generally is going to be if there's any work done in oil and gas particularly around the hole or down the hole, that's where the environmental markets kind of step out. They have no interest in those type of exposures, and so that's sort of the definitive line. There's a bit of gray area around those, and it depends on the appetite of the individual environmental market, but for the most part, that's the area where they're gonna put a hard stop and say, no, we're not interested.
That's very easy to remember also.
I try to make it easy.
I like that. So the energy space, the P&C market, everyone's sort of saying the same thing, and we've said it so many times that it's not educational at this point with inflation the way that it is, and interest rates and nuclear verdicts and just the hard market in general. So there's no point in rehashing what everybody knows to be the trends. But are there any outlier trends that are uniquely impacting the energy space that may not necessarily have any correlation to your like general P&C business?
Yeah, I think there's some similarities, obviously, and I think the trends follow into energy to some degree. For example, the property market within oil and gas, or energy in general, is impacted just as habitational and commercial property would be. But the excess market is particularly hard in the energy space. 5 years ago, you could get a lead 10 million umbrella, no problem. Today, you're probably having to get at least 2, on average, I'd say 3 to 4 different carriers just to build out that first 10 million. The other area I would say would be oilfield trucking in particular, and the hazmat hauling related to the oilfield. I think those are areas where you're seeing particular challenges because of the location of a lot of these exposures. You're talking about Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and South Texas in particular is a really tough area for auto. Louisiana as well, really tough because of nuclear verdicts, tort law in Louisiana, and just in general, particularly about the auto physical damage portion, the vehicle costs for oil field vehicles, the truck tractors, they're specialized. A lot of them, they have particular tanks on them. They're costing more and more every year. So the cost of fixing them and replacing them is driving premiums up as well. So those factors are really impacting oil field trucking right now.
What about the geographic location of energy risks?
Yeah, so, again, talking about South Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, across the Gulf, those areas are, coastal areas and are impacted by hurricanes and named storms. So you've got those type of perils. Oklahoma, North Dakota, Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, you have convective storm tornadoes that are occurring in those areas, as well as hail damage, severe hail damage. So those are also contributing not only to property losses, but also auto physical damage losses. Because if you have your fleet of trucks sitting out in a yard and a hailstorm comes through, all of a sudden you've got claims on 25, 50, 100 trucks, whatever you have in your yard. So those are all contributing factors.
Ooh, not a fun day for claims sometimes out there.
Yeah.
So I'd like to pivot a little bit to just the general trends around renewable energy, alternate energy, this emphasis on going green. There's pros and cons to both sides.
Right.
And I'd be interested to hear your perspective and what some of the, cautionary tales are of the going green movement.
Yeah, I think we're rushing to go green without looking at what all the long-term implications of going green entail. And I think there's a lot of untold story about where precious metals are coming from, how they're extracted from the earth, and what those implications are having on those cities, those areas, those territories. And, specifically, you can talk about lithium, cobalt, manganese. These are all precious metals that are used in building electric batteries or electric car engines. And there's a lot of mining that happens to extract those metals. And is that great for the environment as well? And so I think we need to have discussions and look long term about what we're doing in the going green that's going to affect us long term. Solar panels, a lot of solar panel waste is going to be coming down the pipeline here very soon. As that first wave of solar panels were installed on homes, they're going to be dying off soon. What are we doing with that waste? Where's it going? How is it being handled?
Someone much smarter than me is going to have to figure that out, but it is scary. I mean, it's not all rainbows and sunshine of the general interest in renewable energy.
It's not, and it's, we're trying to get away from carbon, but what are we creating as a byproduct by getting away from carbon? And I'm not saying that carbon is this good thing that we need to just stick with, but we need to identify the risks across the board and weigh those consequences. For example, getting manganese or cobalt out of the ground, a mine mining process might use about 55,000 gallons of diesel fuel a day and 1 million gallons of water a day to extract a small amount of cobalt and manganese. And while that's just a small component of an electric motor or electric battery, it's integral, and so we do need it. But what are the implications of that mining process having on our environment?
Right, so that we can sit here and scroll on Netflix.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
so my cell phone, I can, use it wherever I want, whenever I want.
But
yeah.
There potentially were a lot of people harmed in that process. It's scary.
Yeah, people getting harmed and the environment because, where's all that? That's more carbon from the diesel fuel going in, and where's that water coming from, and how is it impacting people in those areas? Because usually you're taking groundwater, and that's going to impact local wells.
We'll save that debate for another day. I think you and Kanan should riff on that soon.
Absolutely.
Why should an agent work with a dedicated energy broker instead of just their, generalist, a P&C broker? What is it about energy that is so nuanced and so specific that you really need someone doing that all day, every day?
Yeah, I think there's a few examples that we can look at. One are the oilfield contracts, the MSAs, master service agreements. There are specific endorsements that are going to be needed to allow a contractor to work in the oil field. And if you're not familiar with those, then you're potentially putting your insured at risk, or they wouldn't even be able to get onto the oil field because their insurance certificate wouldn't be approved. So I think looking at those is a good example. Another one would be just understanding and knowing the marketplace, the carriers that are going to offer coverage in the energy space, particularly oil and gas. Most of those are E&S markets, so the local retail agent probably isn't going to have relationships with those E&S markets and have a full grasp of what their appetite is. And that's where a specialist wholesale broker can come in and give that local retail agent the needed support and expertise and guide them to hey, we should go look at these carriers over here. They can offer a really good product that will fit the needs of your insured and satisfy, the oilfield MSAs.
What got you into this particular segment of the insurance industry to begin with? Was it just luck and then you just happened to be really good at it and took your lane, or?
It was my initial wholesale job at Sloan Mason. They were oil and gas. That's all that they did. And so when we started, our boss at the time gave us about a month to kind of read and research and learn oil and gas and get up to speed. And not that we were proficient after a month. I mean, you get proficient as you get experience. But it gave us a good foundation to build from. And that's really where it grew. And from there, doing oil and gas, I saw a couple downturns in the oil and gas market where prices just dropped to the floor. People were going out of business. And so it was really affecting my individual book as well as my teammates at that time. So I decided that diversifying and getting into environmental made a lot of sense because there was so much overlap with oil and gas and energy with environmental that I had a good foundation to build on. And then I moved environmental outside of the oil field in particular to diversify the book. But that's really where I got started into it. And then also pivoted to renewable energy because you could see the writing on the wall with oil and gas. And I'm not sitting here saying it's going to go away anytime soon, but I think renewable is a growing sector, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, that's ultimately, for you being such a niche broker, you have to know what all of the you have to stay on top of all those market trends because that's ultimately what your retail agents rely on you for.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, they do it themselves.
Yeah,
but that's what they need you for.
Exactly. That's what I'm here to do.
So fill in the blank for me. Think of Jencap's energy practice
whenever you have an energy risk. Because we can bring more solutions.
Around the hole or down the hole?
Around the hole, down the hole.
I'm going to use that in our marketing now. I love that.
If there's energy anywhere in the description of what industry they might be working in or working for, I think you should reach out to Jencap and allow us to provide you more solutions for your client because we can bring more markets and expertise to the table for you.
No, that's great. Well, thank you so much, especially being, hot on the scene for making the trip all the way from California to come see us. And I can't wait for our agents to be able to tap into your expertise and lean on you with this new energy practice. It's really exciting.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to working with agents and other brokers within Jencap and just providing a new product for the company and, helping us grow.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Flip the Cap, the industry's premier podcast where insurance insights flow and trending topics are always on tap. Cheers.